Hello, friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with an Aquarius new moon reading. I haven't done one of these in some time, so I thought it'd be nice to do one for this new year. So, thank you so much for joining me. I will be using the Fountain Tarot and see what we have in store for us with this reading and see what to expect. Now, this is going to be a voiceover because I had this all recorded and I was going to upload it. And for whatever reason, it did not capture any sound, even though I have no idea what happened. So while I could have just re-recorded the whole video, I don't know. I feel like maybe the cards that I pulled and the stuff that was kind of coming through was exactly the message that we need at this time. So I'm going to try my best to kind of remember what I talked about and see what comes up with what I say and see if the message is still, relevant to this reading. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I know it's been a while since I've offered these new moon and full moon readings. I used to love doing quickies on my Instagram a long time ago, and I haven't shared them in a really long time. So I really just appreciate your support and trying to see what comes through. So I know Aquarius energy feels a little bit clunky with the moon because it's a little bit more cerebral. It's a little bit more about the mind. It's going to be more analytical, more logical. It has kind of this humanitarian twist to it that maybe we're not always used to. And so I think a lot of us are kind of looking at the collective energies of all of this and kind of trying to figure out like what's going on with that and what does that mean for us as individuals. So while the moon is not always comfortable in Aquarius, it is something that, can allow us to illuminate certain things within ourselves, within our psyches, our beliefs, kind of the things that we're hanging on to, what we think, and what that means as a collective, and how to kind of utilize that energy to propel us forward as a collective unit. So I hope that you enjoy the messages that come through and that you're able to take something from this reading, as I really do enjoy sharing these with you guys. So for our first card, we have the Page of Swords. I'm not really using a spread or anything. Next, we have the King of Cups. And then we have the Hierophant. Next, we have the Ace of Coins. And then finally, we have the 10 of Cups reversed. I also felt like I should pull from the Moonology Messages deck to kind of give us a little bit of guidance from that and see what comes through. So let's see what card we pull here. So we have Forgiveness, or Full Moon and Forgiveness. And then I also want to pull from another deck that I've just been felt very called to use, and I just haven't really had a reason to use it yet. So I'm going to grab that. It's the Intuition Oracle by Monty Farber. And I forgot her name. Sorry. All right. And everything's getting thrown everywhere. So let's see what card we pull. So here we have the Seeker. And all right, let's see what we have going on with our cards and kind of the energy of everything going on here for this Aquarius new moon on January 29th, 2025. So first off, we have the Page of Swords, which to me is very much a card that's a reminder of being a little bit more open and receptive to the things that maybe we don't know. I think that the energy for the Page of Swords is very much about being willing to go out into the world, having a lack of experience, having a lack of knowledge, but then also in that, understanding that your beliefs are going to change, that what you know is going to be different than what you have always thought it was going to be, that these things are going to be something that are in flux and shifting. And I think the energy for this is that it's really saying that maybe right now we're considering, what we believe in, what we think, how we kind of process this information, what it means for us as individuals and for the long term, as well as what we really value when it comes to the higher mind. And so a lot of us may be questioning, where these beliefs come from, what kind of helped us to come to these conclusions in our lives. The page is essentially this naive, immature sort of energy that we kind of see that is ready to kind of break away from the lessons that they've learned in that suit. And so I feel like the Page of Swords is here to kind of tell us like, hey, what have we learned with the sword suit? What have we learned about what we think, what we process, our truth? Where do we feel empowered? What sort of things are coming up around that? And so we are kind of given a little bit of this direction to kind of understand what we believe in and what that means for us overall. Now, there is a lot of this kind of masculine energy that I'm getting from this top row, having the King of Cups and also the Hierophant. So I think a lot of this is really coming up with like this masculine energy. Now, next to the Page of Swords, we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is the emotionally mature, nurturing energy of the suit. This is understanding that we've learned what is needed to be learned, that we've processed what's needed to be processed, that we've established ourselves as a much more emotionally mature and, having a good foundation as far as like what we think and what we feel within ourselves. I think the King of Cups is this very beautifully intuitive, creative, mature energy that maybe is like wanting to kind of nurture us and kind of father us a little bit at this time. So I feel like with this Aquarius new moon, we're kind of seeing this energy of like maybe trying to be a little bit gentler, a little bit more aware of how we parent ourselves and how we're showing up for ourselves in these much more emotionally available and mature ways. And so I think with the Page, where we're kind of like being asked to kind of cut away from certain beliefs or limitations that we've had up with ourselves, the King of Cups is kind of saying, okay, we need to kind of be a little bit more stable in what it is that we believe in, especially as we kind of move into the energy of the Hierophant, which is very much about traditions and beliefs. So I think this King of Cups is kind of trying to root us and ground us in understanding who we are, what we want, what that means for us as a whole, and what that means not just as an individual, but like for the collective. So a lot of us may be wanting to seek out more nurturing figures in our lives, whether that is like just the masculine energy, the divine masculine. Maybe a lot of us are kind of looking at some of the leadership in our lives and what does that mean for us? Maybe we're having to kind of deal with a lot of masculine energies around us right now that are making us kind of question, like, how do we feel? Like, what is safe for us? Are we feeling steady in the things that are kind of going on around us at this time? And how does, that add up for us as a collective? And what is it that we are kind of valuing in all of these things when it comes to our beliefs, our traditions? All of these things kind of come together and kind of, show us what is going on. And so a lot of us may be questioning, the intentions of the people that we surround ourselves with, especially more masculine energies at this time. We may be cutting away from certain relationships that are no longer beneficial to us or no longer in alignment with the things that we desire for ourselves. And I think having, this Page of Swords and then the King of Cups, as we're kind of moving into the Hierophant of just like really looking within ourselves and really trying to pay attention to what those traditions are. What are these governing agencies around us that may be affecting what we believe about ourselves? And the Hierophant is very much, it's a major card. So it talks about beliefs and government and tradition. And it really can feel a little bit more rigid, but I like to look at it as a card of learning and teaching. I feel like there's this beautiful dichotomy that kind of comes here where it's almost talking about like, what have we been learning? What have we been teaching? What do we have to share with others? What is it that maybe we've forgotten is something that we have within ourselves that's ready to kind of be, given out into the universe, not just because we want it to be that, but because it's ready to be something, that's put out. And so I think with the Hierophant here, we are maybe feeling like there's a highlight on, the institutions that are in place, religion, what we believe, tradition. And so maybe a lot of us are kind of questioning, like, what is tradition to me? What does that mean to my life and what I have going on? As well as like, how can I really change some of these things? I think some of us forget that traditions are built. They can be changed, they're established, and we don't have to continue in the footsteps of everything else that have been, taught to us or the things that have been shown to us. The thing with Aquarius energy is that it is very much this like coming in with the unexpected. It's about coming in with changes and shifts for the betterment of humanity. And I think the Hierophant here is kind of saying like maybe we need to kind of question some of the things that we've been hanging on to tradition-wise that maybe don't really make sense for how we are developing as people and as we grow into the future. And so I think this Aquarius new moon may feel very much like we are planting new seeds. We are looking at what that means for us in the long term and what it is that we're trying to really focus on, as well as where we are putting a lot of our energies into. And when we talk about like the bottom two cards, we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is, or the Ace of Coins, which is essentially that seed that's being planted. And so I think that these first three cards, while they are very masculine in nature, and they really do want us to kind of focus on getting clear and being emotionally mature enough to change and kind of look within ourselves as to what we've learned, what is actually the truth for ourselves, we can kind of reestablish what is trying to kind of grow. So this like page is here kind of initiating that opening of like, let me move into my truth. Let me move into a place where I'm a little bit more empowered, even if I'm inexperienced in this. And the King of Cups is here to kind of help us be a little bit more creative and nurturing as we're kind of moving into this energy and, kind of ending up on the Hierophant, where it may feel like we're going up against tradition or we're going up against things that can be a little bit more challenging for us to confront or face. But I do think that all of this is kind of leading us down this path of, really establishing what we value, what we want, and what we really truly believe in. And so a lot of us may be wanting to kind of interconnect in new ways. The thing with the swords is, again, it's communication, it's connection, it's truth, it's empowerment. The cups are creativity and intuition and feelings. Those two things may feel like they're at the opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're equally important. And that's why I think we have this Ace of Coins here to kind of root everything back down. And so that we can kind of see that the Ten of Cups reverse is not saying that, yes, we may not have expected things to kind of turn out the way that they have, but we have an opportunity to kind of see what we need to water and grow so that we have an opportunity to have what we're looking for, to have a more established connection. The Ace of Coins is here as the seed, the opportunity, the new door opening up because we have done some of the work. We've questioned what we believe in. We've looked at what we have within ourselves. We've learned what was necessary in order for us to kind of move forward. And so I think that this Aquarius new moon is kind of saying like, okay, we're ready to kind of plant the seeds for what we need. But the Ten of Cups reverse is kind of saying that while it may not always turn out the way that we had anticipated or expected, it doesn't mean that it still won't be something that's beautiful or good. It gives us an opportunity to kind of look at the lessons from the Nine of Cups, which is all about our dreams being fulfilled, our wishes coming true. So we got to get clear on what those wishes are, right? The Ace of Pentacles is our backup in this energy. and kind of reminding us like to be very aware of where are we focusing this energy? Like, what seeds are we actually planting? What does that look like? What does it feel like? What do we want it to be so that we can water it completely and fully so that it can grow into something that feels a little bit more established and a little bit more connected for us in the long term? So, a lot of these cards feel like we're being asked to really look at what we believe, who we are, what we want, how we take care of these things, and essentially what our tradition will be moving forward. Because a lot of the things that have happened have made us really shift and change as a collective. I mean, just looking at the last 5 years, how many things have shifted and changed and have been so unpredictable. And that's been very much this Uranus energy, which is what rules over Aquarius. And so it's kind of saying like, okay, we have to kind of continuously change. Humanity is changing. The world is changing. And what does that mean for us as individuals? What does that mean for us as a collective? How can we come together and say, I've changed, you've changed? How can we, answer the call moving forward? And how can we plant new seeds that feel like they're honoring all of the things that we've learned and all of the things that have shifted and changed during this time period? So as much as this lunation is only going to be here for, the one day, I like to look at them as they move in 6-month cycles. So there may be some lessons that we're going to be touching back on, like what seeds are we planting with this Ace of Coins now that maybe in 6 months during, the Aquarius full moon, perhaps in August, that we will have a lot of illumination on, especially when it comes to what sort of wishes have we put into play. So we move on to the Oracle card I pulled. We have Full Moon Forgiveness. And again, like I was talking about this full moon that will be coming up in August in Aquarius, maybe it's kind of saying like, what do we need to forgive? And I think that this is also highlighting the things that we felt with the Cancer full moon a couple of weeks ago. A lot of us have maybe been having to experience or move into understanding some of the things that have happened that have been out of our control. I think forgiveness is going to be a big lesson for many of us at this time. It's going to feel very much like not easy work. It's going to feel perhaps very challenging where you're having to kind of move out of certain energies. And the thing with forgiveness is that it shows emotional maturity, it shows emotional growth, the potential for something to shift, for us to get very clear on what we've learned and what we believe. So I feel like this forgiveness card is here as a reminder of like, hey, there's some stuff that we've been hanging on to that's kind of keeping us from getting really clear on who we are, what we want, and what we need. And so it's either blocking some of the things that can happen, the things that maybe are trying to shift for us. And so we're feeling a little bit stuck in some old patterns. Maybe we're like falling down into, like emotional rabbit holes that are not very beneficial for us. And I think that's why it's saying, okay, we have the Page of Swords, cut away from anything that you've been hanging on to. We have the King of Cups, which is emotional maturity and growth and understanding that your feelings can be a tool, while also, kind of growing past certain traditions and limitations that we've placed upon ourselves in order to make other people feel more balanced and happy. We need to plant new seeds. And in order for us to kind of move into this next phase or this next chapter with a little bit more joy and happiness, we have to really focus on what needs to be, what's kind of come up that needs to be forgiven, what has been hanging around energetically that is essentially kind of blocking you from really feeling centered and grounded in your experience and what it is that you want. So I think with the forgiveness card, we're given an opportunity to kind of highlight and illuminate what needs to change. So finally, we have the Seeker, which is saying, I seek new friends and experiences to expand my awareness. And I think that this is very much Aquarian kind of energy. I know for some of us, like we're wanting to kind of like hideaway. And this is a 9 year, so it is a hermit year. I think a lot of us are kind of wanting to isolate, kind of hang back and not really like moving into the energy of like getting out there. And I think Aquarius season is essentially not a very social time period anyways. So I think that this is what I'm saying, like we need to kind of seek out our communities. We need to seek out the people that get it, the people that connect with us, and finding things that maybe feel like they allow us to really show up as our true and authentic selves. The thing with Aquarius is that it is very much the sign of being uniquely you, uniquely yourself. And I think that's kind of been the highlight during this season, is that we want to show up as who we are. We don't want to be told how to be. We don't want to be told how we should think and how we should feel. We want to be able to show up as our authentic selves and not shrink down to make other people uncomfortable. And so I think the seeker is kind of saying we need to seek out people that also see us as we are, that support us where we're at, that kind of celebrate us where we are. And I think that's the big thing with like social media and how things have been shifting and changing with that, especially with like the TikTok ban and that still being like something that's pending. I think a lot of people are running to find other ways to establish community and connection where they feel seen, where they feel like they can really truly be themselves. And as someone that has been using social media for many years, I know that it's changed, but it's also been something that has allowed me to really show up as myself. And I think this Aquarius season, we're kind of given this redirection of trying to find where we fit in, trying to find the people that see us, that love us, that hold space for who we are, that allow us to really show up as our true authentic selves, no matter what's going on out in the world. So I know it can feel very scary and confusing as, you know, we're trying to kind of connect with who we are and what we really want in this lifetime. But I think that this reading is kind of telling you like, hey, this is an opportunity for you to kind of cut away from anything that has been holding you back and that is no longer treating you the way that you want to. So I hope that this reading found you well. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you spending time with me and watching my videos. Please, you know, no matter what you do, take care of yourself. Understand that it's an opportunity for you to plant a new seed and move into the next thing. Take care of yourself. Have a good one. And as always, make some good choices. All right. Bye.